Hey, Internet. So I've talked about this before, and I'm talking about it a little bit again because I have now recently become homeless again. First of all, homeless people vote. I know a lot of people don't want to face that fact, but homeless people vote. You don't need an address to vote like people think that you do. You can have an address at somebody else's place, like I do. You can have an address at a shelter. If you know that some states allow people in prison to vote, then it's very easy to understand how, or also people in nursing homes and other people in group situations, residential group situations to vote, then you understand how you can use a shelter address to vote or absentee ballot. As somebody who's filled out an absentee ballot once in my life, I think I remember how that goes, but people really don't want to face the fact that homeless people are equal to them in the polls. So they want to set up the illusion that it's difficult for homeless people to vote when it's actually not. And I'm prefacing it with that to say that Democrats and Republicans hate homeless people equally. As someone who has been homeless inconsistently, I'm what's called chronically homeless, since Obama's second term, I believe. I have seen like the larger scale politics of like the president and House of Representatives and stuff, down to the local politics of the mayors and governors and city councils, not only not doing anything to help homeless people most of the time, but actively work against homeless people, like what happened in Eugene, Oregon, and Duluth, Minnesota, and California, where the governor, Gavin Newsom, is avidly anti-homeless, has even helped sweep encampments. I've met people who have been homeless for 10, 15, 20 years. People that have been staying in shelters, staying in the same shelter because of how their area is for decades. Bill Clinton didn't do anything for those people. George Bush didn't do anything for those people, and I'm bringing up George Bush for a reason. Lock in. All the way up to where we are now, Trump Part 2. And would have been Kamala Harris had we lived in a different timeline. You will argue that the president can't do anything about homelessness. The president can use his influence, his clout, to say something, to encourage other like parts of government to help anyone that they want to help. The reason why I brought up George Bush, when 9/11 happened, anti-Muslim violence was on the rise. George Bush made his statement. It dropped right back down about how Islamophobia will not be tolerated. That was the president using his influence, even though he can't make a law. He can't issue any hate crime type of thing. He used his influence directly to discourage anti-Muslim hate, and we saw the result. It worked. Remember those anti-sexual assault ads? Those work too. Look at the statistics. I'm not going to do that for you. People in power speaking up for vulnerable people does work, and we've seen it before. So, to zoom back into what I said previously about Gavin Newsom, Duluth, Eugene, stuff like that. Of course, there are other places. Democrats, people who want to demonize the other side, look for Republicans to be the hate group. When all those places that I listed, Eugene, Oregon, Duluth, Minnesota, state of California, all those places are Democrat. And on the other side of that, Donald Trump also hates homeless people. The whole alligator Alcatraz thing, that was originally supposed to be for homeless people. But then the Operation Metro Surge and ICE and all that shit happened. And Democrats will argue with me, berate me, tell me that I'm wrong, but will never prove me wrong. Magically so. Also, I live in a place that is run by a very overtly anti-homeless mayor. Not so much the governor, but definitely the mayor. And in the meantime, in the city, major city right next to us, they don't have an anti-homeless operation. They actually try to help people over in the next city, the next county. And even though the supply is very scarce in being able to meet the demand, because this new situation that we're in, our new local and national economic situation has definitely manufactured more homelessness, they still at least do an effort to treat homeless people with dignity and respect, more so than the place that I'm in. And both places run by Democrats in a Democratic state with Democratic governor. So, miss me with that Republicans are evil shit. I will never vote Democrat again if the Democrats, one, refuse to get their shit together, and two, continue to blame Republicans for everything bad that's happening, when one, the Democrats keep selling us out, that whole Chuck Schumer shit, and two, the Democrats hate homeless people just as much as Republicans. Let me tell y'all something. A lot of the Palestinians are homeless. A lot of the Syrians are homeless. A lot of those people in Congo, they're homeless. So note the pattern here. Trans people, a lot of trans people are also homeless. Obviously not every trans person is homeless. That's not a thing even in line with the stereotype about trans people. But there are some homeless trans people. Every demographic can be homeless, both domestic and foreign. But let's look at the pattern here. There are people in Europe that are homeless, and those people aren't being demonized. We're not encouraging the bombing of them. None of that. A lot of those people are white. Not all of them, but a lot of them. We know that that's the majority demographic in a lot of Europe. But we look at the Palestinians, and we somehow see the conditions that they live in, and we don't even connect that they're homeless. Babe, they're homeless. Congratulations, you finally give a fuck about homeless people. But our government still doesn't, because they're a bunch of brown homeless people. 9 times out of 10, person in America that's homeless, aside from white, because that's, we have more white people here. The next demographic is going to be native and or black. If white supremacy cared about white people, there would be no homeless white people. But in terms of size of population, just like with police brutality, disproportionate amount of homeless black people and native people. Just putting that out there. But we're getting more leftists, more socialists, more democratic socialists. More people are voting in the direction that we actually need to go in, because they understand that shit is drastic now. So, it all remains to be seen. But baseline, fuck the Democrats, because y'all the villains too.